The flickering fluorescent lights of the courtroom seemed to amplify the tremor in Daniel's hands as he clutched the worn manila envelope. Outside, the cacophony of the city, the blare of car horns, the distant wail of sirens, was a stark contrast to the suffocating silence within these hallowed walls. For months, this day had loomed like a dark cloud on the horizon, a culmination of a business partnership gone sour, a friendship fractured by greed and betrayal. His former business partner, Robert, a man he had once trusted implicitly, was now accusing him of fraud, of siphoning funds, of orchestrating their company's near collapse. A wave of white-hot anger surged through Daniel, so potent it threatened to choke him. The accusations were baseless, malicious fabrications designed to deflect Robert's own mismanagement and secure a larger share of the remaining assets. The injustice of it burned in his gut, a relentless fire fueled by years of shared history now twisted into a weapon against him. Sleep had become a battlefield of anxious thoughts, replaying past conversations, dissecting every nuance of their deteriorating relationship. Doubt, a venomous serpent, whispered in the dark corners of his mind, questioning his judgment, his naivete in trusting Robert so completely. Anxiety manifested physically, a constant tightness in his chest, a persistent headache that throbbed in time with the relentless ticking of the courtroom clock. The vibrant colors of his life had dulled, replaced by a monochrome palette of fear and apprehension. He glanced at his lawyer, Ms. Evans, her expression a carefully constructed mask of professional calm. But Daniel could see the underlying concern. In her eyes, the acknowledgement of the precariousness of their situation. Robert's legal team was formidable, their accusations skillfully crafted to sow seeds of doubt in the minds of the jury. The tension in the courtroom was palpable, a thick, suffocating blanket that seemed to absorb all sound. Robert sat across the aisle, his gaze unwavering, a chilling mixture of defiance and calculated innocence in his eyes. The jury, a panel of strangers holding Daniel's future in their hands, looked on with a mixture of curiosity and judgment as the proceedings began. Each witness called by Robert's team painted a damning picture of Daniel, twisting his actions, misrepresenting his intentions. The anger within Daniel threatened to erupt, a volcano of righteous indignation yearning to spew forth. He clenched his fists, fighting the urge to shout, to defend his integrity against these calculated lies. During a brief recess, Daniel retreated to a quiet corner of the courthouse, the weight of the accusations pressing down on him. He pulled out a small worn book from his pocket, a collection of Seneca's letters, a gift from his late father, a man of quiet wisdom who had always found strength in philosophy. He opened the book, his eyes falling upon a passage. "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Seneca's words struck him with a profound clarity. In his anger, he had fantasized about retaliation, about exposing Robert's own wrongdoings with equal ferocity. But his father's well-worn copy offered a different path, a more dignified and ultimately more powerful response, to maintain his own integrity, regardless of Robert's malicious actions. He continued reading. "Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you are capable of improving. The process is mutual. Men learn while they teach." The fractured friendship with Robert now seemed like a stark warning. He had chosen a business partner unwisely, someone whose character ultimately proved to be flawed. Moving forward, he resolved to be more discerning in his associations, to surround himself with individuals who shared his values and fostered mutual growth. Later, during another tense moment in the trial, as Robert's lawyer relentlessly cross-examined him, Daniel felt the familiar surge of anger rising within him. He took a deep breath, recalling a passage from Marcus Aurelius's Meditations that had often resonated with him. External things are not the problem. It's your assessment of them, which you can erase at any moment. Aurelius's wisdom acted as a mental anchor. Robert's lawyer's aggressive questioning was an external event. Daniel's anger was his interpretation of that event. He had the power to choose a different response, to remain calm, to answer truthfully and factually, without being drawn into an emotional battle. He focused on his breathing, on the truth of his statements, refusing to let Robert's tactics dictate his inner state. He answered each question with clarity and composure, his demeanor a stark contrast to Robert's often agitated and defensive stance. The trial stretched on for days, each hour an emotional roller coaster. There were moments of despair, when the weight of the accusations felt overwhelming, and moments of quiet resolve, fueled by the principles he had turned to. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the jury delivered their verdict. Not guilty. The relief that washed over Daniel was immense, a tidal wave that threatened to buckle his knees. Justice, though hard-won, had prevailed. In the aftermath of the trial, as he began to rebuild his life and his business, Daniel carried the lessons he had learned close to his heart. The betrayal by Robert had been a painful experience, but it had also forced him to confront his own vulnerabilities and to cultivate a deeper understanding of himself and the world around him. He chose his new partners carefully, prioritizing integrity and shared values over potential profit alone. He learned the importance of clear boundaries and the necessity of trusting his own judgment. Years later, he encountered Robert again at a chance meeting. Robert looked worn and bitter, the weight of his own choices evident in his demeanor. He offered a grudging acknowledgement of the outcome of the trial. Daniel responded with a quiet nod, devoid of animosity or triumph. He had moved on, his focus firmly on building a future based on trust and integrity. The ordeal had been a crucible, forging within him a deeper understanding of resilience, the importance of choosing his responses wisely, and the enduring power of ethical conduct. The initial tension, anger, and anxiety had been intense, but the principles he had embraced had provided a framework for navigating the storm and emerging stronger on the other side. The practical lesson Daniel learned, and one that holds profound significance in all aspects of life, is this: we will inevitably encounter betrayal, injustice, and moments of intense emotional turmoil. Our initial reactions of anger, fear, and anxiety are natural. However, our long-term well-being and our ability to navigate these challenges successfully depend on our capacity to choose a reasoned and virtuous response, rather than being consumed by our initial emotions. The wisdom of Stoicism, as exemplified by Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, offers a timeless guide for navigating such trials. Control your reactions. Recognize that while we cannot always control external events or the actions of others, we have absolute control over our own thoughts and responses. By consciously choosing how we react, we can prevent negative emotions from overwhelming us. Focus on virtue and integrity. In the face of injustice, our most powerful defense is to maintain our own ethical standards. Acting with integrity, honesty, and fairness, regardless of how others behave, provides an unshakable foundation for our self-respect and resilience. Choose your associations wisely. Surround yourself with individuals who share your values and who inspire you to be a better person. Be discerning in your trust and establish clear boundaries in your relationships. Learn from adversity. Difficult experiences, while painful, offer valuable opportunities for growth and self-reflection. Seek to understand the lessons embedded within these challenges and use them to inform your future decisions. Practice forgiveness for yourself and others. Holding on to anger and resentment is a burden that ultimately harms us more than the person who wronged us. Forgiveness, while not condoning the action, allows us to release the emotional grip of the past and move forward. Just as Daniel navigated the treacherous waters of betrayal and legal battle by embracing Stoic principles, we too can cultivate the inner strength and wisdom to face life's inevitable injustices and emotional storms with greater clarity, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to our own integrity. The power to find peace and strength in the face of adversity lies within our ability to master our minds and choose our responses with intention and virtue.